Hello everyone and welcome to my CS24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island. Marty says it's time to put a case on over Aladdin's cave and pull up its secrets. This week on The Curse of Oak Island, the team had to make some tough choices, but ultimately they decided it was time to bring in a large caisson and excavate Aladdin's cave. Last night's show, Season 11, Episode 10, called Chain Reaction, was a bit of an emotional roller coaster with the guys continually having to bat away problems and bad news. The episode began with the not-so-unexpected news that there would be a significant delay in the project to deepen the garden shaft. The guys had wanted to deepen the shaft to about 95 feet so they could spend the summer performing horizontal probe drilling in the search for tunnels and treasure. Unfortunately, the Dumas miners informed the Lagina brothers that the shaft wouldn't be deepened until the fall due to recent flooding. However, Rick and Marty Lagina are not ones to rest on their laurels, so they thought about what else they could spend the summer doing. Marty suggested they put a large caisson over Aladdin's cave. Oak Island team hopes excavating Aladdin's cave will reveal the treasure. Aladdin's cave is a large cavern about 60 feet southwest of the garden shaft and at a depth of roughly 150 feet. Dr. Ian Spooner and his colleagues said the water in the cavern showed traces of precious metals and organic materials. The organic traces suggest the presence of wood, which implies there may be human-made structures down there. The guys have spent a few weeks flirting with Aladdin's cave, trying to work out if there's an access point in and out of the cavern. Frankly, they've not had too much success. Last night, the borehole team dug another hole into the cavern and was surprised when the casing came back up with loose, mushy material. The guys concluded that the cavern had suffered a collapse since they were last down there. A collapse would severely complicate matters. Surveyors Steve Guptill, Paul Troutman, and Ian were asked to go over all the data they've already collected through sonar mapping and the underwater camera to see if further exploration was feasible and warranted. Steve argued that one piece of footage from the cavern appeared to show a right-angled corner. This is not something that generally occurs in nature, so the guys are hoping it's evidence of a human-made structure. The surveyor also showed a 3D sonar map of the cavern, which he claimed showed at least 2 possible entrances to the cavern. Thankfully, Moneyman Marty agreed with Steve's analysis and gave his go-ahead to bring in a large caisson to excavate Aladdin's cave finally. The rest of the team also agreed with this move. So, this season will now pivot its focus to this mysterious cavern, and we can expect the heavy drilling machinery to arrive within the next month or so. Aladdin's cave will be excavated, and we'll finally have an answer as to whether or not it holds the treasure. More artifacts found on Oak Island's Lot 5 and in the swamp. Elsewhere on the island, Billy Gerhardt and Gary Drayton spearheaded the hunt for artifacts at the southeastern edge of the swamp. Last night, they found many old-looking ship-based artifacts, but unfortunately, nothing was groundbreaking. Certainly no Bobby Dazzlers. And the archaeologists continued their slow and thorough excavation of the rectangular stone feature on Lot 5. Jamie Kuba uncovered an ornate glass bead that could originate from Venice and be up to 500 years old. The afternoon sun gleamed off the rust-colored metal of the excavator as it hovered over the money pit area, its arm poised like a sentinel guarding the promise of untold riches. But on this particular day, the usual air of uncertainty that haunted Oak Island seemed to shift. Marty Lagina stood near the edge of the platform, helmet on, boots covered in the mud of 1,000 years of mystery, his expression unreadable until he spoke. "It's time," he said, his voice steady. "It's time to put a caisson over Aladdin's cave and pull up its secrets." The crew paused. The words hung in the air like cannon smoke. For months, no years, Aladdin's cave had been spoken of in whispers, a fabled cavern detected through muon tomography and sonar scans beneath the money pit zone. It wasn't an official name, of course. The nickname had been coined by Jack Begley after a shimmering anomaly showed up deep underground, resembling a dome-like structure surrounded by voids that hinted at man-made architecture. Jack, with wide-eyed wonder, had called it Aladdin's cave, a place where treasure wasn't just gold, but ancient knowledge. Rick, standing beside Marty, offered a faint smile. "Are you sure, brother? Once we drop the caisson, there's no going back." Marty looked out across the island. The trees swayed in the salt-tinged breeze. "We've chased shadows long enough. If there's truly a chamber down there, if Aladdin's cave is real, then it's time to find out what it's hiding." The next few days were a storm of activity. Vanessa Lucido from ROC Equipment arrived with her team and towering machinery. The steel caisson, reinforced and ready, was transported to the site, an imposing cylinder that would chew through centuries of sediment and secrets. Gary Drayton paced nearby, swinging his metal detector in the surrounding spoil piles, while Charles Barkhouse huddled with Doug Crowell over old maps and tunneling schematics, checking and rechecking the depth and angle of the target. In the war room, a giddy but cautious Alex Laginus stared at the 3D model of Aladdin's cave, its dimensions superimposed in glowing green lines across a black background. "It almost looks too perfect," he said. "Vaulted ceiling, clean perimeter. If someone built this, they knew exactly what they were doing." "There's geometry," murmured archaeologist Miriam Amaralt, "and intent." By sunrise on the 7th day, the caisson was in place. A chorus of engines roared as the oscillator began its descent, driving the massive cylinder deep into Oak Island's belly. Dirt, rock, and occasional splintered timber were hoisted up in sloppy buckets, each load inspected by Eagle Canada technicians and cross-referenced with historical data. And then, at approximately 82 feet, something changed. "Hold up!" a worker shouted. "That's not soil, that's void." The sonar echoed the discovery, a hollow pocket beneath the caisson, perfectly spherical. The team leaned in over the monitors, breath held. A camera probe was lowered, its lights piercing the dark chamber below. First came reflection, glimmering surfaces that blinked like stars in pitch black. Then shapes, a stone pedestal, carved symbols along the wall, stacked items that didn't belong in a natural cavern. "Oh my God," Jack whispered. "There's something down there." The camera caught a close-up of an object, wrapped in what looked like decaying oilskin. Next to it, a rusted chain, possibly gold-plated, and an ornately carved scroll tube. Back on the platform, Rick gripped Marty's arm. "We need to bring it up. We need to preserve whatever we can." Vanessa nodded. "We can lift part of the chamber's contents through a retrieval cage, but we'll have to be extremely careful. It's fragile down there."